Have you ever truly paused to consider that perhaps the person you believe yourself to be is just a mask? That the choices you make, the thoughts that fill your mind, and even the dreams you chase might not have come from your deepest self? What if I told you there's a silent, hidden force inside you, subtle, ancient, and dark, that has been steering your life from the shadows all along? This isn't science fiction or some mystical fantasy. This is psychology. And at the heart of it all stands one man, Carl Gustav Jung. Are you tired of stumbling through the same emotional loops? Tired of wrecking relationships, sabotaging your own progress, or feeling inexplicably stuck when everything seems to be going fine? That invisible pull might just be your shadow. Or maybe it's the archetypes. Or maybe it's something even larger, the collective unconscious, trying to wake you up. But what does all that even mean? And why should it matter to you? Because turning your back on these psychological truths is like walking through a minefield blindfolded. You'll get hurt. You'll repeat the same destructive cycles. And the worst part is you'll convince yourself it's just bad luck. Carl Jung wasn't merely a psychologist. He was an explorer of the human soul, a cartographer of the psyche. He ventured into the dark, uncharted territories of the mind with a courage few have dared to summon. And what he uncovered has the power to append everything you thought you knew about yourself. This isn't just a summary or a history lesson. It's a mirror. And in that reflection, I'll show you the parts of yourself you've been avoiding for far too long. But I must warn you, once you see it, there's no going back. Jung's insights will awaken a vision in you, and you'll start noticing things that once went unseen. You'll begin to identify the hidden forces within you. And maybe for the first time, you'll realize that the true adversary in your life is not external, but internal. The hopeful truth? That enemy can become your strongest ally if you're willing to face it. So take a breath, clear your mind, and prepare yourself. Because what you're about to hear isn't just another lecture on Jung. It is the one understanding you need to begin your journey back to yourself. And after this, you will never see your life, your mind, or your soul in the same way again. Carl Jung was not just a man of theory. He was a man who dared to dive into the depths where most look away. Born in Switzerland in 1875, he grew up surrounded by the silence of nature, steeped in religious rituals and mystical symbols that planted in him an early sense that human life held something profoundly mysterious. This sense would lead him to become not just Sigmund Freud's most brilliant student, but also his boldest challenger. While Freud reduced the human psyche to repressed sexual impulses and childhood trauma, Jung saw something infinitely deeper. He saw the soul. He didn't just look at the symptoms on the surface. He peered into the roots of being. While Freud looked backward into the personal past, Jung turned his gaze to the ancient past of the species, reaching into the mythic, the symbolic, the collective. And that's why their split was inevitable. Jung was not interested in simply helping people adapt to a broken world. He wanted to restore their lost connection to their essence. He saw the human psyche not as a machine to be fixed, but as a living, breathing system filled with polarities, light and darkness, masculine and feminine, logic and emotion. He believed that suffering wasn't a mistake to be avoided, but a signal, a call for inner transformation. Jung founded what he called analytical psychology, a path not aimed at fixing what's wrong with you, but at embracing the whole of you. He taught that we don't heal by cutting out the parts we hate, but by integrating them, by becoming conscious of what we've buried, repressed, or denied. Because for Jung, the greatest danger was not the pain we feel, it was unconsciousness itself. And that's why his work still matters. Because despite all our advances, today's world is still sick. We numb our pain with distraction, avoid our feelings, flee from anything that threatens to awaken us. But Jung didn't just diagnose this condition. He offered a map out, a way in, a return to the self. Not a superficial self, but the real one, hidden beneath layers of conditioning and fear. He gave us no easy answers, no motivational cliches. What he offered was far more valuable: the truth. And one of the most powerful truths he revealed is this: there is a part of your mind that doesn't belong only to you. A shared psychic layer that connects every human being on the planet. It's called the collective unconscious. And within it live forces and patterns that shape your life, whether you're aware of them or not. In the next part, we're going to descend into this vast, hidden world, and once you see what's really down there, you'll never think of your mind the same way again. Most people believe that their thoughts, emotions, fears, and desires are uniquely their own, shaped by personal memories, upbringing, and culture. But Carl Jung shattered that illusion. He revealed that beneath your personal story lies a deeper, more ancient layer of mind that isn't personal at all. He called it the collective unconscious, a psychic realm shared by all human beings, regardless of background, culture, or era. Imagine your consciousness as a small island floating on a vast, dark sea. That island holds your memories, your traumas, your identity. But beneath it lies an ocean of invisible forces, symbols, myths, emotions that have been passed down through thousands of generations. These are not just stories. They are not just metaphors. They are psychic realities, energies that live inside you and shape your life without asking for permission. These primordial patterns are what Jung called archetypes. They show up in dreams, fantasies, religions, art, films, even in your deepest fears and greatest desires. They are the reason different cultures across time created nearly identical myths, heroes, mentors, monsters, journeys, deaths, and rebirths. These aren't just cultural coincidences. They are the deep structure of the human soul speaking through symbols. Every time you feel the fear of abandonment, you're not just responding to your past, you're resonating with a universal archetype. When you long to belong, to find love, to transcend your limitations, it's not just your ego striving, it's an ancient energy moving through you. This is why ignoring the collective unconscious is like pretending gravity doesn't exist. You can deny it, but it still pulls on you. It shows up in your relationships, your choices, your repeated mistakes. And unless you face it, you'll keep fighting battles you don't even understand. Because you're not just wrestling with your own psyche, you're wrestling with the entire human story that lives inside you. But what exactly lives within this collective unconscious? Who are these invisible forces that act through you when you're not looking? Jung gave them names. He called them archetypes. And among them, one stands out as the most feared, the most dangerous, and the most ignored. It is the part of you that you've spent your whole life running from. The part you hide from others and from yourself. It is the dark mirror of your soul. And Jung called it the shadow. In the next chapter, we'll dive into this powerful and terrifying force that lives inside you and show why the only way to be free is to face what you fear most, yourself. Have you ever said or done something that shocked even you? An outburst, a betrayal, a moment of cruelty you couldn't explain? Have you ever caught yourself judging others harshly for traits you secretly fear exist in you? That's not random. That's your shadow speaking. Carl Jung believed that every human being carries a hidden, repressed side, a shadow composed of everything we deny, suppress, or find unacceptable within ourselves. Your shadow is made up of your shame, your envy, your rage, your pride, your wounds, your unmet needs, all the parts of you that were told were wrong or too much. It's the child who is told to shut up, the teenager who swallowed his truth to be loved, the adult who wears a polite smile while crumbling inside. The shadow isn't evil, it's human. But when ignored, it becomes dangerous. Because everything you repress doesn't vanish, it gains power. The more you suppress your shadow, the more it leaks into your life through projection, sabotage, sudden rage, and self-doubt. You see it in others, but not in yourself. You hate what you secretly are. You judge what you're afraid to become. You sabotage what you're too ashamed to receive. Jung warned that unless you bring your unconscious into consciousness, it will rule your life, and you'll call it fate. In other words, the patterns will keep repeating. The same heartbreaks, the same failures, the same stuck feeling. Not because life is against you, but because you're against parts of yourself. But here's the truth most people miss. Your shadow is not your enemy. It's a reservoir of energy, passion, creativity, even strength, if you have the courage to meet it. Integrating the shadow doesn't mean giving in to your darkest impulses. It means recognizing them, understanding them, holding them without judgment, so they stop controlling you from behind the curtain. This is not a path for the faint of heart. It demands honesty. It requires letting go of the false image you present to the world. But in that brutal confrontation begins something extraordinary, the process of becoming whole. Jung called this process individuation. It's the path of returning to your true self, not the self shaped by fear, culture, or expectations, but the one buried beneath it all. In the next part, we'll explore what individuation truly means and why it may be the most important journey you will ever take. Most people spend their lives wearing masks, trying to be who their parents wanted, who society rewards, who the world applauds. They conform, suppress, twist themselves into shapes that don't fit just to feel accepted. But underneath all the pretending, there's a quiet ache, a sense that something is missing. Carl Jung knew exactly what that emptiness was. He called it the absence of individuation. Individuation is not some trendy self-help slogan. It's not about manifesting a better life or thinking positively. It's the intense, raw, and often painful process of becoming whole. It is the death of illusions, the collapse of the false self, the confrontation with every part of you you've tried to hide. It's about shedding the persona, the mask you wear to survive, and meeting the real self beneath. It's about recognizing that you are not just light, but also shadow, that you are both strong and fragile, wise and foolish, courageous and afraid. True healing begins the moment you stop running, when you stop blaming, stop numbing, stop pretending. Individuation happens not in comfort, but in crisis, in heartbreak, in loss, in the moments when your old self dies and something new is born. Jung said the encounter with the true self is a defeat for the ego, and he was right. Because the ego wants control, perfection, praise. The self wants truth. That's why most people avoid this path. But for those who dare, something extraordinary begins to unfold. Freedom. A freedom that doesn't come from escaping pain, but from understanding it. A freedom rooted in integration, in wholeness, in becoming everything you are without shame. And this inner transformation has a language, a secret code, symbols. Jung believed that the soul speaks not through logic, but through dreams, images, archetypes. Every dream you have, every recurring symbol, every strange emotion, it all means something. Your unconscious is speaking. The question is, are you listening? A house in your dream may represent your inner world. A snake, transformation. A tunnel, descent into the unconscious. A mirror, the part of you you're avoiding. These aren't random. They're messages. And if you learn to interpret them, you begin to navigate your own soul. But it doesn't stop there. The archetypes, these mythic characters within you, continue to shape your life, your love, your choices. The hero, the wounded child, the wise one, the shadow, the lover, they all live in you. And when unconscious, they control you. But when made conscious, they empower you. Jung's work is more vital now than ever. In a world obsessed with performance, disconnection, and external noise, his ideas offer something we've lost: depth, meaning, soul. He wasn't a therapist for easy times. He was a guide for collapse for moments like now. And if this video found you, it's probably not by chance. Because the unconscious doesn't make mistakes. This might be your call to finally face yourself. To say enough to the lie and yes to the journey home. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take one step, the step of honesty. The soul is speaking. Now is the time to listen. And if something inside you stirred, write it down. Let it surface. Because just by naming it, you begin to free yourself. And maybe, just maybe, this isn't the end, but the beginning of the most important transformation of your life.